up? What is happening? I hope everybody's doing well. So we've got another Magic haul that I'm super excited to record. This is just, I freaking love making these videos. So we've got some cards to show that I picked up. We'll talk about a little bit about the pricing. I've also got some other stuff that I've traded in. I've got those in return. So got a lot to talk about. We also have an Iconic Masters to open. So that's, you know, that's pretty cool. It's been going up. I know it wasn't the most the most favorite of Masters sets, but you know what? I figure it was only $10, so it was worth it. We're going to talk about a lot of these cards that I've picked up. Now, I'm a huge fan of the art from a lot of the Modern sets. Now, Modern is definitely not very popular right now, and because of that, a lot of the cards are just like seeing low prices that they haven't seen in years. So I've been picking up a lot of those cards that have just died. You know, will Modern become popular again? I mean, it could, right? Like, but I figure why not pick the cards up that are, you know, the art that I love that I can pick up for pretty cheap right now. So, like for example, Thought Reflection. Now, Thought Reflection has never seen a high. You know, its counterpart, what is that? Mana Reflection, I think it is. Has, you know, is like $65 or something. This card, I just love the art. I think it's beautiful. I really want to pick it up in foil. I think it's only $8 for the foil. This was only like $1. I think this one's only worth like $1.50 or something, if that. It's a 7 cost, and you draw 2 cards instead of 1, which is pretty good, but it's still extremely expensive, which is probably why it's never seen, you know, never really seen any play. So yeah, that was a cool pickup though. I was pretty psyched about that. I just saw that on eBay. Really great condition. So here we've got the Okina Temple of the Grandfathers. This one looks like it's in light play, bordering on medium. It's a tough one, but I picked it up for like $3.2. I think the value was like, this card's not very expensive, but I picked it up for real cheap. So yeah, Champions of Kamigawa, super cool land. I love the art though. Look how beautiful that freaking art is. And you tap a green, your target legendary creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn. I don't know, that's pretty cool. Who knows? You know, a lot of the lands from Kamigawa are going up. This one has a pretty steady trend, so we'll see how that goes. I don't know. Next one, I just wanted to pick this up because it's such a weird land, but it's so beautiful. And this baby is bordering on near mint. It's pretty cool to find some old lands like this. You can see there's a few dings, but pretty beautiful condition. Pick this up for a really, really good value. It's a phasing land. I mean, who knows if this will ever see a spike, but I figure if you see a near mint of something like this, and it's just a couple bucks, you might as well snag it, right? Super cool art, though. I love it. So here, this was purely for art. I think the Primal Crux has some really sweet art. I really want to pick this up from the in a foil for 6 green. You get a trample, and Primal Crux's power and toughness are equal to the number of green mana symbols and the mana cost of permanents you control. I mean, if you got this out at the right time, you'd have a pretty big monster of an elemental here. So super cool card, love it. Picked it. Another, you know, I'm always hunting value. I'm bordering on obsessive about it, so that's really exciting for me. But I'm actually learning. I did make a mistake. I am returning it. I'll show you guys. So sometimes you have to balance you know, paying the right price, but also getting what you pay for. So this card I was super stoked to get because I got it in such good condition. I think there's just a little, it's so unnoticeable. A few tiny little nicks. This might be one of my favorite arts. The foil's actually not that expensive. Foils from this, again, I learned my lesson. Foils from this era can be, you know, people can be a little weird about it. So this is one of those elemental lands. So if you comes into play, you reveal an elemental. If you don't, comes into play tapped. I mean, these lands, you know, they're just waiting. I think Auntie's Hovel is a good example that, you know, these cards usually just wait for a goblin deck to come out, or in this case, an elemental deck, and then they spike. So I think while they're below $10, it's a pretty reasonable pickup. And even more so, the foils, I think, are dirt cheap right now, too. So I'm definitely going to be looking forward to collecting as many foil lands as I can from this time period because they're really cheap right now. Alchemist Refuge is one of them, for example. I think I'll pull out the foils and we'll look at these. Alchemist Refuge is a super cool card. I picked it up mainly for the freaking for the art because I think it's so cool. So you can pay a green and a blue, and you can cast non-land cards this turn as though they had flash. That seems really good. Now, I'm not a very experienced player, but I did do some research on it, and a lot of people said they didn't use it as much as they thought it would, which is as much as they thought they would, which is probably why it hasn't really seen any spikes. But again, a foil land that just looks so cool and has a pretty good, ability. Seems like a smart pickup. Now, this one was pretty minty. We don't see that much clouding. My light is reflecting off that, but I've got a crazy cloudy foil that I'll show you that I picked up that I'm actually going to be returning. So let's get this bad boy back in here. Love that card. I'm actually going to be opening up about six packs of Avacyn Restored that I picked up from Target with a gift card, actually. So that's super exciting. Now, probably another one of my favorite arts. I always say that about every card, but this one especially, man. This printing of Gerak might be my favorite. I do like some of the other printings. There's that one zombie Gerak that's actually pretty sick that transforms or turns over, whatever, and he looks super gnarly. But this one, man, again, a super minty card I picked up for just next to nothing, and I was super stoked about it. But dude, I really want to pick this card up into a foil. As you can see, I'm pretty obsessed with that. So his abilities are pretty sweet. 4 costs isn't that bad for an old planeswalker. A lot of the older planeswalkers tend to be 5 costs. 3 colorless, 2 whatever. Tends to happen. But he's got some cool abilities. I don't think this card will ever spike, but I just think it's a great card, and I think it's beautiful, so I really, really like it. Now, this card I was super stoked to pick up, and this is what led me to buy another foil from this. I won't say who they are, but, this foil was in really great shape, and it was so cheap, dude. I think that what first caught my eye about this card, as does many cards, is just the art. So we'll kind of pull this bad boy out, and you can see there's like barely any clouding. The foil's in fantastic condition. I picked this up for, I think, 50% of what it's worth. So I was super psyched about this. And then this seems, 5, so 3 colorless and 2 white is, it's a little expensive, but you're getting a 4/4 with Vigilance, and then you pay colorless and white, search your library for an equipment card and put it into play, attach it to a creature you control, then shuffle your library. That seems super good. I'm not the most experienced player, so maybe I'm missing something, but seems so good. You can comment below and trash me if you want, but let's get this one. So, a recent pickup. Oh my god, I could not believe. I was so worried about the condition of this. He's so freaking cool. Original printing of Gerak. This card has been worth $60 to $70 in the past. He was worth quite a bit for a long time. He's just dropped down to 30. He seems to have plateaued at 30. I don't know if he's ever gone lower than 30. I think when he was upon release, he was maybe in the 20s. But dude, look, I picked this up for half, okay? Half of what he's worth right now, which is insanely low. And dude, I don't even really want to touch it with my fingers because the foil is in, I got this, I could not believe the quality. I was like, well, for this price, he's definitely going to have some clouding. It's definitely going to be all nicked up, but unbelievable condition. The foil from, I was talking to I just joined this Discord group, and they were telling me, you got to be really careful with foils from this era, because if they're not put in a sleeve right away, they just start clouding, So I could not believe, and he's such a cool card, and dude, so valuable too. I think Kithkin is so cool. I'm collecting all of the as many Kithkin cards as I can. They're so cheap, and they're just so cool. So yeah, that was a really awesome pickup. So the original printing of Misosynth Lattice Again, a crazy pickup and in really great condition. This card has recently, you know, it was, I think it was like, for the longest time, it was like 40 bucks or something, or maybe 35, spiked up to 60, and was probably seeing quite a bit of play, and then it dropped back down to 30. Again, I managed to pick this up for about half, and maybe that's just says a lot about the price it will be in the future, which will probably be half. But dude, so beautiful. I love picking up, you know, some of these cards that really spike and then drop back down. I always look out for their original printing. So I was pretty stoked about this. And then Send Triplets, man. The same card I got from, what is it? Who did I pick this from? Stonehewer Giant. Same guy. Again, really amazing pickup. I think, what's his name on game nights? Well, in the command zone or whatever, brought Send Triplets into a game of Commander and put that out on YouTube, and then shortly after the card spikes up to like $70. Recently dropped back down. This is, I picked this up again for half of what it's worth right now. Maybe a little bit, actually, I think about 60% of what it's worth now. Right now it's about 34 or something. So yeah, about 60%. Really great condition. Just a few little nicks on top, but not mint, not light play either, probably in between. Super cool card though. I would imagine it really sucks to play against. I love the art. I love the colors of like the color scheme of the gold and the silver and the black. I think that looks fantastic. So, pretty sweet. And then this card, this card is, ever since I've played and watched so many YouTube videos, I've always loved the art behind this card. Obviously, the card is really good as well. I was pretty stoked to find a perfectly minty. Now, this one is mint. This one is, I wouldn't even call this near mint. There is one tiny little nick there, so we might call this one near mint. This one I actually got closer to what it's worth right now. You know, it has been really expensive in the past. Again, it's one of those modern cards that's just really took a dive recently. So I said, hey, you know what? Now, if I were to ever buy this card or get this card, now is the time to do it. You know what I mean? So pretty stoked about that. Now, before we get into the other one, I will show you the learning experience I had. Now, Needle Spectre, I was actually looking at this card before it spiked. I loved the art, and I was just looking around, and then I think I spaced on it, and then it spiked. And now this foil is about $35 or something, $30. There aren't any anywhere on, there are some on TCG, a few, but they're really not anywhere. And I saw this for about, I think it was about 20 bucks, and I begged and pleaded with my wife to let me snag it. And I think I just got emotional about my want for the card and realized that it had been so cheap for so long and recently just spiked up so high, and it's definitely going to drop back down. I saw a lot of other cards that do this. They randomly spike, and they'll spike for like maybe a couple weeks, and then they drop back down to about $5 more than they were plateaued at for years, right? So I saw this, and I made this kind of impulse buy, and it looked amazing. Like when I took it out of the envelope and I saw it and I looked at the edges and I was like, whoa, my God, perfect condition. Oh, so stoked. And then you take this bad boy out. Look at the clouding. Look at that clouding. Like, you can't even really, there it is. You can see there's barely a line. And this is, you could call this heavy play, or at least medium play with that level of clouding. So I was really bummed about that. It was a dagger, man. I was so stoked about this card. So luckily the buyer is going to return it, or the seller is going to return it. So I am returning this card. I think I'm going to learn my lesson, wait for it to drop back down, and then snag a minty one from TCG or something. Because I love the art, and it's such a cool card, but you know, it's not worth its price right now, I don't think. And it's also, I mean, it's a discard engine. It's a discard card, basically, right? So you deal damage whatever damage you deal to the player, they discard that many cards. So, I mean, it's a cool card, but like, it's overpaid, and I'm going to return that. So, glad he returned it. Keep your eye out, man. A lot of people are going to, and I learned this again from these dudes in my Discord. You know, I'm pretty new to everything, relatively speaking, compared to the game itself. And, you know, a lot of people say, like, you know, they may say it's near mint, and it may look near mint, but then the clouding of foils, like buying foils from this era is really difficult. So when I had seen that, I was just like so surprised and pleasantly surprised that this Gerak was in such fantastic condition for the price. So stoked about that. Okay, guys, so now let's take a look at some of these pickups, these other ones I got. Now, one of these, let's just have a look here. So we got, we do have our pack to open. So this one was not in a sleeve, which is kind of disappointing. It is, I paid a couple bucks here, trade in. So we got this is the first time I'm seeing this with you guys. We got a Goto Bandit Warlord. If you see this foil, it's insane. It's like $45, and it has been for a while. How's the condition here? Got a little nick there. Overall, we got a few nicks on the side. Looks in pretty good shape, though. I'd call that near mint. Yeah, I'd call that near mint. Sure. I'd say that's worth it. All right, let me grab a sleeve. Now, the next one, better. This one was just kind of a fun little pickup, so I'm not really that bummed that it's, yeah, I'd call that near mint. It's a weak near mint, I'd say. So we'll get this bad boy sleeved up, though. I just love the art, though. I think the art is super cool. I really want to pick this up in a foil, but it's in spiking between $30 and $45 for the last, I don't know, couple months. So I'm going to look for this one to drop, hopefully. Maybe it'll get a reprint or something. Cool card, though. For 6, pretty expensive, 3/3 Goto Bandit Warlord. Comes into play. You may search your library for an equipment card and put it into play. If you do, shuffle your library. It's pretty good. So you're basically getting, you know, you're paying 3 for your 3 damage, and then you're paying 3 to go find an equipment card, put it into play. And then when Goto attacks for the first time each turn, untap it, and all samurai you control after this phase you get an additional combat. Really good. I think this was one of the commander decks way back in the day. A lot of these oversized foils are on sale on eBay for like nothing. But I do want to pick this up in a minty foil somehow, some way. We'll figure that one out. Now I want to save that one. Oh yeah, this card. Oh, that's right, dude. Okay, so Dillion Click is this one. I'd be more concerned about the condition. I'm glad they put it in a sleeve. Oh, it's in. Okay, so what do we got? A little touchy little nick there, but nothing noticeable. This is in really nice condition. Now I know Brazen Borrower probably does, you know, what this card does, but this card has just died. I actually saw a foil from the original printing. What is this? Morning Tide go for $35 on I missed the on eBay, but there was no picture of it, so it was a little risky. And I think this card's just going to continue to drop. If you look at the trend, I picked this. I traded. So this Dillion Click was traded out at about $11 or something. That just goes to show where, you know, this card used to be 60, 70. I think at one point it was like $80 or something. Foil was insane. But I just love the card. I think the art is so cool, very beautiful. I think the mechanic of the card is fantastic. But yeah, I mean, it's, you know, who knows? Maybe it'll see its day in the light again. So yeah, pretty stoked about that. Now this card, wow, I could not believe the price of this card. It's so low. This card was $60, $70 for years. And maybe that's because artifacts aren't that popular right now. You know, a lot of the, I don't know, and that's just a guess. It just dropped. There was a reprint in what is it, Modern Masters? I can't remember. But this is a Mirrodin foil that I think this was like $20, which is a really great deal. Now I do want to oils on this. Oh yeah, I can just go like this so I don't touch it. Let's have a look at this foiling. How's that? Is there any... That looks actually really good. The light is going to, not compared to that other, I mean, you can see a very clear line, not a lot of clouding. Just a little wear, and that could have just been from the, you know, that could be still pack fresh and look like that. Little nick down there below, but I'd call that near mint for sure, so I'm stoked about that card. So beautiful, and just like the fact that it's so cheap right now, why wouldn't you? It might go lower, but you know, that's fine. Okay, so let's do, since everybody hung out, if you're still watching the video somehow 20 minutes later, we've got a pack of Iconic Masters to open, which I've never opened a pack of Iconic Masters, so this will be exciting for me. We've got another much bigger opening, well, bigger in my standards, in a couple weeks, maybe about 10 days actually. So I think everything's in the back. There's some crazy value in this set. A lot of cards have spiked, and you know, everybody, I think this was a lot of people's least favorite Masters set, and it has seems to have you know, come up a little bit. So let's check this out. I think this stuff's pretty hit or miss with Iconic Masters. There's some crazy value in here, and I think there's also some a little classic duress. There's a lot of bulk. There's some bulk going on, so we'll just see how we go. I'm not really expecting much. Ooh, that's a very beautiful land. Seems really good for common. That's cool. Okay, we're getting into the... Sorry, I'm slow rolling this. I want to enjoy it. I don't get to enjoy things like this very often. Okay, getting into our uncommons. Little Doom Blade. Okay. And into the... Hey, Flusterstorm! That's actually pretty sick. That's so good. Anger of the Gods foil? What? We got a foil rare out of here? That's crazy. I'm very surprised about that. So I traded in the trade-in value on this pack was about $10 to pull Flusterstorm and get a foil rare. I don't know. Let's just check the pricing here. I'm just gonna pull up my TCG player on my other phone here. Flusterstorm, if I'm not mistaken, is like... Hold on, before I say anything, let me have a look here. Yeah, it's about $660. Okay, so not bad. I think it's dropped. I think it's gone down. Let's see. So for a blue, counter target instantry or sorcery spell unless its controller pays 1. When you cast a spell, copy it for each spell cast before it this turn. You may choose new target. That seems really good. So that's awesome. And then Anger of the Gods. I don't know if this is... Let's see what the non-foil is. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what this does. Anger of the... Okay, so it was reprinted in the Mystery Booster. Okay, and it had a Theros reprint as well, so it's probably not worth very much. What is this? $223. That's actually more than I thought it was going to be. Let's check the foil. And the foil price is about $675, so you know what? I cannot be mad at that. I was looking for a mana drain, of course, but hey, how can you be mad at that one pack magic? Well, I made it back for the $10 that I put in, which is probably pretty rare for a one pack Iconic Masters. So it's pretty sweet. I love the art from this, so I'm not mad at that at all. All right, guys. Well, if you're still watching this really long video, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I make these videos not for the views, just because I love to talk about the cards that I have gotten. So, yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for hanging out. I'll check you guys later. Peace.